Hi, I'm Vincent, and in this video, I'm going to show you 9 ways to find the email addresses of your leads, and I will show you free and paid options. So let's start. Alright, so the first way is to use an email permutator, and basically with a free tool like this one, what you can do is to try a lot of email addresses like this, and to create automatically all these email addresses, what you need to give is the first name, last name, and the domain of your leads. So for example, Arnaud Bellinga from breakcall.com, then you create and generate email addresses. So here you see that we have a lot of email addresses that we can test. And if you want to test your email addresses, you need to go on Gmail. So you click on Open in Gmail. Then you click on 29 more. And here you see that the right email address has an image. So the good email address is this one. The next free option you have, and it's probably the best, it's to go on LinkedIn. And here you have two options. So the first one is when you are connected to someone. So here you need to have first. What you can do is to click here on contact info. And most of the time here, you will see an email address and even a phone number sometimes. Now, the main drawback of this method is that you need to be connected to the lead to have access to the email here in this contact info page. Now, if you are in the case where you are not connected to someone, so here you see second. Then if I click here on contact info, you see that I don't have much information. So basically, I don't have the email address of the lead. Then what you can do is to go here in the About section. You click on More, and sometimes you will find an email. So if I scroll, yes, so here you see the email of the lead. Now, the next option you have is to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So it's basically an access to the LinkedIn database. It's a paid plan, but you have a 30-day free trial. So it's perfect when you want to create a list of leads, because here you see on the left that I have a lot of filters. For example, current job title, CEO, company headcount from 200 to 500 people. Here I can target people based in the US and people who post on LinkedIn. So perfect. So here you see that I have my results here on the right. And now if you want to get the emails of these people, so unfortunately you can't do that natively with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And if you want to export these people and get their emails, you need to use a third-party tool like Give Me Leads. So if you want to try for free Give Me Leads, you can go on givemeleads.io, or you have a link in the description. Then once you've installed the Give Me Leads Chrome extension, you will see this button on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So extract leads. So once you are happy with your search and you want to get the emails of these people, all you need to do is to click here on extract leads. Then here you can give the number of leads you want to export. So let's say for this tutorial, 100. Here just below, you can say that you want the emails of these people, and then you click on export leads. And now you see that my export is currently running. All right, so as you can see, my export is done. So let's click on download CSV. So here is my list of 100 leads. Perfect. And on top, you see that I have all the information I need, like the first name, last name, link general, and of course, the emails of these people from LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So if you use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to build your list of leads, you can try for free Give Me Leads to get the emails of your leads. Now, the next option you have is to use Google Maps. And this option is very useful if you target local businesses. So here, for example, you see that I've made a search. So I target a lawyer in New York. And then you see that I have some results. So let's check, for example, this result. So this is a Google My Business page. And here you see, if I scroll, that I have some contact information. And here you see, for example, that I have a phone number, but in most cases, you won't find the email of a lead. So if you want to have the email, what I recommend to do is to go on the website. For example, I click on this one. And in most cases, if you want to find the contact information on the website, you scroll, and here at the bottom, you see that we have an email address and we even have a phone number. Now, let's take another example. For example, this one. So here you see that we don't have an email. Then I open the website. So if I scroll, you see that I don't have an email address. Yeah, here we don't have any email address. But if I click here on About Us, that's actually perfect because here we have the email addresses of these people. So it's perfect because here what you can do is to target specific people in the company. So if you are on a website and you want to find an email address, I recommend to go at the bottom of the page. And if you don't find an email address here, you can check in the About Us page. And sometimes you will find an email address. Then the next option is to use Google operators. So for that, what you can do is to type site and then you type the domain. For example, this domain, and here you type email. So site, the domain, and email. And here you see, for example, that I have one email here, and here you even have a phone number. Now, if you don't find an email on the first page, you can go on the page number 2, 3, and so on. And if you still struggle to get an email, what you can do is to use brackets at SEMrush and then the domain, and then you can type a keyword. For example, if you want to target marketing, you can do that. You press enter, and then you check if you have an email. So here, for example, you see Academy Team at semrush.com. Then the next option is to subscribe to a newsletter from people you want to target. And then once you've received an email, here, sometimes you will find the email that you can target. For example, here I have Andrew at acquire.com. So it's actually the CEO of this company. So this technique is useful if you want to target specific people. Now, if you want to target someone on YouTube or a media, what you can do is to go on a YouTube channel. Then you click here on more. Sometimes you will find here an email address directly in the description. But if you don't have an email here, you can go here and you click on view email address. And then you click on submit. And you see that I have an email address for this YouTube channel. Then the next option you have is to check the social medias of someone, for example, Facebook, X, or Instagram. So you go on the page of a lead, and then you can check if you have an email. So here, for example, we have an email, but in most cases, unfortunately, you won't find any email. Finally, the last option you have to find the emails of your leads is to use an email finder tool like Give Me Leads. So let's say, for example, that you have a list of leads, so people who are head of marketing. So you have the first name, last name, company name, and let's say the domain. Then what you can do with a list like this is to go on Give Me Leads. Then you click on Enrich Contacts. And here you click on Upload CSV. Then we need to map the columns. So first name with first name, last name, company name, and so on. And then we click on Enrich Contacts. And now we just need to wait a little bit. All right, so the enrichment is done. So let's click on Download CSV. And now you see this time that I have the email address of my leads. So you see you have many options to find the emails of your leads. Some of them are good if you need just a few emails, and you have some paid alternatives if you need to get more emails. So if you want to try Give Me Leads, you can go on givemeleads.io, or you just need to click the first link in the description. And now that you have some emails, I'm sure that you want to send cold emails to generate leads for your business. And if you don't know where to start, don't worry, because I've made a complete beginner-friendly tutorial on how to start sending cold emails. So if you want to check this video, you can click somewhere on the screen. It was Vincent. I wish you a nice day, and I see you in the next video. Bye-bye.